Am I live? Hello? Are we here? Do we even remember how to do this? It's been an awfully long time since we did a PMQ stream. So do forgive me if I don't remember how to do this, as we attempt to make head nor tails of some of the inane drivel that comes out of the Prime Minister's mouth, and of course the opposition, and the well-established paper pervert. Yes. Okay. I did manage to watch this live. Just a spoiler. I managed to watch it live, and when I watched it, it wasn't as energetic as I thought it would be. But there are some points worth addressing. So, that's that. Let's go here. Yep, there's the video. I can now see my chat. Hello, chat! Hello, Cyrene, Bookworm Addict, and Noetic Justice. For those who don't remember the format, hello, Duskplanes, hope you're well. The format goes as follows. In PMQs, the opposition can ask 6 questions. The Prime Minister is typically there for up to 45 minutes for a session, where members of Parliament are asked by the man you see to ask the Prime Minister a question. Hello, that crime guy and dangly bowls. Hope you're well. Hello, Lulu. I know you were looking forward to this. Hope that wasn't misplaced. The speaker does choose them arbitrarily. He's not the most powerful speaker we've had. Hello, Faceless AI. I would argue John Burko was vastly more powerful in presence. Hello, Bubbly Production. But Sir Lindsay Hoyle does have good control over the chamber, for the time being. He doesn't shout as well as he used to. So, yeah. Also, he's a northerner, so when he shouts, it's funnier. Usually, a lot of the questions are plants. Those plants are asked by the current ruling government's own party members, who get to then fluff themselves up, by making it seem like the government's plans are working, when they invariably are not. Hello, Biomagitech. Hope you're well. So, with that out of the way, I'm now going to press play. Oh, this is going to be fun. I haven't done this in ages, and for those who don't remember, the reason I stopped doing this is because of coronavirus. Coronavirus really did ruin this. Hello, Zombie Teddy. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Yep. We haven't done this in a while because of coronavirus, but now coronavirus has essentially come to an end. I'm like, yo fam, I need to do more streaming anyway. Let's see if we can remember how to do this, because I built this channel on this. Hello, Michael. Hope you're well. If I miss anyone, don't worry, I'll get to you, I promise. So, if you can hear this, let me know.
We now come to questions to Prime Minister David Johnson.
Hi, Normie.
Question number 1, sir.
Start.
Mr. Speaker, I can announce...
So, I'm going to stop this in advance and give you an advance warning. Usually, if someone dies, they pay tribute. But also, the Prime Minister is going to use this. He's going to use it as an opportunity to fluff himself up a little bit and make it seem like he's doing something, which will set the standard, hello Fubar Freak, for the rest of this stream.
Announce to the House that in light of the increasingly threatening behaviour from Russia and in line with our previous support, the UK...
The previous support being military armament, I believe, and monetary assistance to the people of the Ukraine. We'd love to Skype about all things Lovecraftian. You'd be Skyping with the wrong person. I forget everything. I'm really bad for it.
UK will shortly be providing a further package of military support to Ukraine. Yeah. This will include lethal aid in the form of defensive weapons and non-lethal aid. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the whole House...
I do believe we are sending guns and, non-lethal aid, lots of pepper spray. Unless we intend to shoot it up the Russians' bottoms, in which case, lethal. Rasputin never died, he became Putin. But I like the Tursass song. It ends really nicely. I know it's a cover, but I really like it.
House will want to join me in congratulating Team GB's curling teams
Cringe.
for winning gold and silver medals at the Winter Olympics.
No, shut up.
And Mr.
Carry
Speaker,
on.
I know that members across the House...
How come English politicians have their own accent? Are they all faking their voices? In the United Kingdom, So 4 countries. Each country has accents that are indicative of them. English being the obvious one, Welsh, Scottish, Northern Ireland, or Northern Irish. In those countries, though, there are regional accents as well. I am from the south. You noticed. However, I have 3 sisters, and none of them sound like me, because they're also from the south, you noticed, but not the same kind of south. Different upbringing and education, I think, also plays a part. I think friends might also, yes. But as you leave the south, like central south, even though I was born in West Sussex, you have the southwest that sound like farmers. Thing is, Jacob Rees-Mogg is from there. He sounds nothing like them either. So yes, sending guns to Ukraine, not Sheffield, cringe, I know.
Will want to offer condolences to the family and friends of our former colleague, Sir Richard Shepherd, who sadly died earlier.
Hello,
this
Lloyd
week.
Watson.
He served
Hope you're well.
as the MP for Aldridge Brown Hills for 36 years. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Before we go any further, I was watching this before the Prime Minister started talking, and that's when they have a quick fire round for certain ministers to answer questions. One minister for Labour stood up at the back, and he had the most ridiculous, hello chaos, the most ridiculous pregnant pauses for every sentence, to the point the speaker just said, sit down. You're taking too long, you're taking the mick. He didn't say you're taking the piss, but I would have loved it if he had. Chicago and the rest of Illinois pronounce vowels differently. Oh, we have that here as well. It makes things difficult to understand.
David Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. By 2027, Didcot in my constituency will be 42% larger than it was a decade earlier. Wantage and Grove will be 59% larger. There are thousands more houses going in Wallingford, Farringdon and all the villages I represent.
Congratulations on having these really cheap houses built in your areas.
And not a single new GP surgery.
So, I'm going to say this now. There are lots of houses being built where I live. There's one GP surgery that's well known. There's one other, I believe. But good luck getting an appointment. It's non-existent even before coronavirus.
Does my right honourable friend agree that where we build new houses, we have to build new infrastructure?
Oh, and smash like, please.
So that people can still access the services they need to.
I mean, investing in infrastructure is one thing, but getting more GPs would be another one. Because a lot of after Brexit especially, there was an issue, but there's also the added issue that many GPs retire younger because they make a lot of money. They're making 6 figures a year, and that's fine. You put in the effort to be that, that's great. But with that retirement being, sooner, we don't have the doctors.
Prime Minister.
Yes, of course my honourable friend is right, Mr. Speaker, and that's why we're making record investments in the NHS and
That has been debunked by literally everyone.
in schools and roads as we can, Mr. Speaker, thanks to the
Roads
strong
bad.
growth in our economy, and I'll make sure that he gets a meeting with the relevant minister to discuss his immediate local concerns.
Well, based on the fact the camera went to Michael Gove, I would assume he is the relevant, next in line to discuss crap.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Right, I'm now going to give you a spoiler. This PMQ is nowhere near as hostile as we've had before, which I think makes this better and worse at the same time. Better because we focus on the issue at hand, worse because who doesn't love a bit of drama?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join with the comments of the Prime Minister in relation to Sir Richard Shepherd? Mr. Speaker, we all want to deter aggression in Europe. We're not dealing with breakaway republics. Putin is not a peacekeeper.
Oh, he's not.
Sovereign...
Well, he is when he's telling his own people he is. And that he's trying to reclaim the USSR. Yep.
Nation has been invaded. The Prime Minister promised that in the event of an invasion,
Crimea was invaded.
he would unleash a full package of sanctions. If not now, then when?
So the rumour was this package of sanctions would be against Russian oligarchs in this country who invest in this country or have money elsewhere, invest in other countries. Basically, anywhere that can be dealt with, a business is done here, along with other countries, uniting together to be like, yo fam, you can't. The thing is, some thought it was 5 oligarchs. No, it's 3. 3 oligarchs. He claimed Roman Abramovich was the current owner of Chelsea. No. He hasn't sanctioned crap on it. The guy owns hundreds of millions of pounds worth of property in this country, not including Chelsea Football Club, where he bought Premier League titles for many, many years. Okay? No, this is very much a case of a few people, and it doesn't do as much damage as he thinks. Oh, and I do think it's worth saying, if you really mean to do what you say you're going to do, you don't say as a threat. Well, you have the opportunity to threat, yes, but you're doing it with somebody who has proven time and time again they cannot be reasoned with.
Mr. Speaker, as I said, the UK has been out in front in offering military support to Ukraine, and I'm grateful for what he said yesterday about the need to make sure that we keep ammunition in reserve for what could be a protracted struggle over this issue. But there has been in no doubt about the extent of the package that has already been set out yesterday and what we are already doing. Because, Mr. Speaker, I don't think people quite realise that the UK is out in front. We've sanctioned 275 individuals already. Yesterday we announced...
Which is a lot of people, I'll agree. Those sanctions will be to essentially prevent them from trading, I think, in this country. And that does obviously impact Russia a little. But it's not enough to deter somebody who believes they're on a crusade to reclaim their homeland.
Announced measures that place banks worth £37 billion, under sanctions, in addition to more oligarchs. And, Mr. Speaker, there is more to come.
I look forward to it. For the sake of what they've said so far, 37 billion sounds like a lot. It isn't, really, is it? Think about the budgets of some of the biggest countries in the world. That's not much money at all, actually. That does hurt the oligarchs, or some of them people, yes. But it doesn't hurt Russia. Look what Russia was willing to do in the past under Stalin or Lenin. How many people they were willing to lose to achieve their goals. I don't think Putin's any different. Especially if he force feeds it a certain way.
And we will be stopping Russia.
It does look like Trump if Trump
Russia
didn't brush it. Chaos, 100% agreed.
Russian companies from raising money, stopping Russian companies, as I said yesterday, even clearing in sterling and dollars on international markets, Mr. Speaker. That will hit Putin where it hurts.
No, it won't.
But it is absolutely vital that after this first barrage, we work in lockstep with friends and allies around the world. And we squeeze him simultaneously. We squeeze him simultaneously in London, in Paris, in New York at the same time. Unity, Mr. Speaker, is absolutely vital.
So I'll agree, Russia does a lot of trading with many other countries. The pipeline, certainly Europe, that's a big one. If Europe really wanted to, they could, I mean, it would hurt them, but they could sanction Russia as well. I don't think they will. There were concerns about removing Russia from SWIFT, which was the entire, I think that's a financial thing, isn't it? That's access to financial services internationally or something. And that they decided against it because it wasn't financially feasible. That tells me how serious you're taking this. Hello, Ahsoka, hope you're well. So I tend to think these sanctions are good, and if everyone's doing it, it could well lead to something. But hello, Green God, and it will escalate because this is now becoming a diplomatic game of chicken. So Boris and Putin are stood in front of each other, running their finger from the top of their forehead down. And it'll be who says chicken first or blinks first, you know? It's that, with all these additional sanctions. I did see someone say that if Trump was in office, would this have happened? I don't think it's right to think about what would have happened if you had a different leader. I do think that Putin perhaps respected him more, maybe, than Biden, but I don't think it's by much. I really don't. And I also think false acquittal, it doesn't matter. He's not in office. And as far as Boris goes, everyone thinks of him as a clown anyway, so he's got to be seen now acting. He's got to be seen now pushing, and if he doesn't, then their chance of diplomacy is not going to work. Putin said he didn't want a war. He doesn't want it. Well, it won't be a war if you keep bragging about your hypersonic missiles, will it? You'll willingly destroy an entire country. What for? To claim some land that you now can't use? Oh, but my border. What about the Baltic states? Are you going to go for them next? Because I think you will. Don't forget, you've got, was it Kaliningrad, whatever it's called, separated from the rest of Russia? Come on, we know you'll push for it. Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania are gone, and you know it. And I think a line has to be drawn, because he has to respect their sovereignty. And he doesn't, but he should. Yeah, I know. I know, Davey. Hello, Davey.
And about further sanctions. But there's already been an invasion.
Yeah, there was with Crimea.
And there's
into Belarus.
clearly concern across the House that his strategy, I accept unintentionally, could send the wrong message. So
He has a point, because there's this, Boris is trying to do it quietly and slowly and carefully to try and see if Putin will say something. But at the same time, some would believe, nah, screw it, just go straight in, do it. Everything, throw it at him. See how brave he is when you financially cripple him on the international stage, leaving him with only China to get hypersonic missiles from.
So if the Prime Minister...
Yeah, I do agree, Chaos.
If the Prime Minister now brings forward his full package of sanctions, excluding Russia from financial mechanisms like SWIFT, and
they won't. It's not feasible. It's not feasible to exclude them. That's what everyone believes, and I tend to agree.
a ban on trading in Russian sovereign debt, he will have the full support of the House. Will he do so?
I'm grateful.
So this is a case of, will he push the button? Now, I think it's a bit of an empty gesture to say he has the full support of the House, because Boris already has enough support behind him to not have to care. But I do think, for a political stance, he is right to say this. Hello, Stuart. Hope you're well. Is there anyone else I've missed? Do let me know.
Mr. Speaker, I think yesterday, and I'm grateful, by the way, for the general support that the opposition have given, not just to our economic sanctions, but also to the package of military support, which will, as I've said, intensify. What we want to see, Mr. Speaker, is de-escalation by Vladimir Putin. There's still hope that he will see sense, but we are ready very rapidly to escalate our sanctions, as I have set out. And under the measures that this House has already approved, and that we can now target, Mr. Speaker, any Russian entity, any Russian individual. We can already target not just the breakaway republics, the so-called breakaway republics in the Oblast of Donetsk and Lugansk. We can target members of the Duma who voted to recognise them. This is the most far-reaching piece of legislation of its kind, and I'm glad that it has his support.
Yeah, but when's it going to be here? That's pretty much the whole point, right? Yeah, economic sanctions, I agree. I'll be honest, very well, yeah, they're getting invaded. I don't think there'll be an actual escalation to war, because they now know we're sending, well, not just us, but other countries are like, no, we'll arm them. We will absolutely help them as much as we can. Although I will still say that Germany's dither on this one is absolutely embarrassing.
Keir Starmer.
It does have my support, and if it's used, we will support it.
Which is quite interesting, really, because think about where Labour was under its last leader. Maybe it's not strange actually when you think about it, because it's not a violent approach. If they started discussing actual war, I don't think Labour would back it, because a lot of them are very passive. They're the types that'd be like, yo, let's just go hug a Nazi. Yeah, let's do that. That might be an old joke for someone to get.
We must also do more to defeat Putin's
Hello,
campaign
Ola.
of lies and disinformation. Russia today is his personal propaganda tool. I can see no reason why it should be allowed to continue to broadcast in this country. So will the Prime Minister now ask Ofcom to review its licence?
So Russia today broadcasts in a lot of countries, and there is certainly an argument there for it. But it's a tricky one. I've always believed in. I believe. I'm not going to say but. I always believe in freedom of speech. I don't believe in deplatforming. When it comes to news, I'm more annoying. They're held to certain standards. Those standards are regulated by Ofcom, so it's done via an investigation. If they're reported to Ofcom for certain breach of trade standards, perhaps, but that is very different. It's not the same, and this is where I think Boris is going to go wrong here. This is not a free speech. This might not be. This may or may not be a free speech argument. I don't think they should be deplatformed like Keir Starmer believes. But I know why he believes it, because I think he believes it's not that. Hello, Leona. Have I missed anyone else in the chat? I don't think I have. Let's go.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, has already asked Ofcom to review that matter. But what I will say, Mr. Speaker, is that we live in a democracy, Mr. Speaker, and we live in a country that believes in free speech. And I think it's important that we should leave it up to Ofcom rather than to politicians to decide which media organisations to ban.
So that's actually a very interesting point to make, because people have held him to a standard where he has come across as someone that does want to ban certain establishments, the BBC more notably.
What Russia does.
Keir Starmer.
That's also a good point. Don't lower yourself to the enemy, or to their standards, right? No one likes his hair, Stuart. No one likes it. But it is Boris's hair. It's his distinctive, trademarked, copyright infringing fringe.
The request was for a review.
Don't forget to
and
smash
I'm very glad
like.
to hear that review is now happening. And I'm not... Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to be deflected from the unity that this House needs just at the moment.
I like that, because that's a good point. Try not to get derailed. Stay on topic. Make it quite clear this is about dealing with an issue. And I have to give him credit. I actually like that. It's just a shame the people around him, well, opposite, are like, oh my, he said something. We need to bait him.
At the weekend, the Prime Minister said that if Russia invades Ukraine, he will open up the Matryoshka dolls of Russian-owned companies and Russian-owned entities to find the ultimate beneficiaries within. Well, Russia has invaded.
Yeah, they did when they did
And
Crimea.
it's time to act.
And of course the
Prime Minister
breakaway
brings forward
regions.
the required legislation to do this, he will have Labour's support. So will he commit to do so in the coming days?
I'd like to believe he will, but I'm not convinced. Even spitting, yeah, they do. The spitting image take the piss out of everyone for everything.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we are, as I said, bringing forward in the next wave of sanctions measures that will stop all Russian banks, all oligarchs, all Russian individuals raising money on London markets, and we are also accelerating, Mr. Speaker, the economic crime bill.
Before we continue, Ahsoka, exactly that. 14th century borders. The thing is, there are countries that existed then that don't exist now. They don't exist, straight up. I'm sorry, but these things change. Okay? And I'll be honest, everyone knew Putin lived in the past. We all knew this anyway. He was always trying to push for a bigger, more united Russia. Thing is, what's he going to do with it? He can't rule it all. He knows he can't. He also knows he's president for one more, well, part of a term. That's all he's got left. So what's he going to do? It's just stupid.
Which will enable us in the UK to peel back in the next session, Mr. Speaker.
Tomorrow, that means.
to peel back the facade of beneficial ownership of property in the UK.
Both are
of companies.
puppets.
It's gone on
Normie,
for far too
you got a
long.
point.
We are going to tackle
And
it
Michael, you're
under
right,
this
nothing will stop him.
Mr. Speaker. But on all these measures, I think it is very, very important that the House remembers they are more effective when all financial centres move forward together. And
I do agree with that. If everyone acted in unison, yes, things would happen. Problem is, you alluded to us and America, and then you said Paris. Thing is, Paris might, but Paris is nowhere near as powerful as Germany. And let me just give you a hint here, based on their current chancellor, Germany won't. I wonder if it has anything to do with what they need from Russia, but also their belief that nothing's going to happen. Yeah, Belgium wasn't a thing 200 years ago. Oh, and careful. Someone might now mention Israel and just cause an absolute storm. Disagree, he is watching current geopolitics and chose to act when people wouldn't respond. Very true. Actually, you've got a valid point there. Very good point.
that is what the UK has been organising.
I mean, it's Chancellor, he'll be elected permanent
Mr.
president,
Speaker, I think I heard
like
the Prime Minister say
Xi
that the
Jinping.
economic crime bill will be in the
Xi
next
Jinping,
session.
Ping.
I hope I misheard
Xi
that.
Jinping, I don't know what he said.
But I can assure him, if he brings it forward in this session in coming days, it will
Xi
have our
Jinping,
support.
that's his
There's no
name.
reason to delay this. Let me also turn to the elections bill. As it stands,
The elections bill, the argument here is about funding and where the money comes from. Now, there are rules in this country. There are rules. You have to be on the electorate to be able to donate. But a point we made, and I'm going to let this one play out.
the bill would allow unfettered donations from overseas to be made to UK political parties from shell companies and individuals with no connections to the UK.
Right, so the argument is that that's not true. But at the same time, we'll get to it.
Labour has proposed amendments that protect our democracy from the flood of foreign money drowning our politics. We can all now see how serious this is. So will the Prime Minister now change course and support these measures in the House of Lords?
Mr. Speaker, we have very tough laws, tough rules in this country to stop foreign donations. We don't accept foreign donations. You have to be on the register of the UK electoral register to give to a UK political party. And before he starts chucking it around, Mr. Speaker, I just remind him the largest single corporate donation to the Labour Party came from a member of the Chinese Communist Party.
Right, so that's actually a pretty good zinger. I'll give him that. However, that person in question, she donated a vast amount of money to Labour member Barry Gardner. That's who she gave it to, okay? But she also gave money to the Conservatives. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Hello, Zemgoa, hope you're well. So, I'll be honest, the point doesn't really stand. I did a little digging, okay? I can't even pronounce her name. Not even going to try. Ha! Fun fact also, though, Russian oligarchs have been donating to the Conservative Party for decades. So does your point and your zinger really stack up when you really think about it? By the way, did you notice there that person sat next to Boris, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, not a smile on his face? Because that zinger just changed the mood. It changed the mood. Right? The problem here is Keir has tried so hard to keep this on topic and Boris just derailed it. He didn't have to do that at all.
Keir Starmer.
No, Mr. Speaker. At this moment, as the House agreed yesterday, we have to stand united. And I am not going to be deflected from that. I note the Prime Minister did not agree to change the elections bill. I think that's a mistake, and I ask him to take it away and look at it again, those amendments in the Lords. Putin has invaded a sovereign European nation. He is attacked because he fears openness and democracy, and because he knows that, given a choice, people will not choose to live under erratic, violent rule. He seeks division we must stay united. He hopes for inaction, so we must take a stand. He believes that we're too corrupted to do the right thing, so we must prove him wrong. And I believe that we can. So will the Prime Minister work across the House to ensure that this is the end of the era of oligarch impunity by saying that this House and this country will no longer be homes for their loot?
I think in the context of trying to deal with influential individuals that could lean on Putin, action speaks louder than words, I guess. Yeah, sure. Will it have much of an impact? No, because there's actually a get-out-of-jail-free card for some of these oligarchs. Ready? You're going to love this one. We brought our money here to escape Putin. We are free. We got to suck. Does that work?
Mr. Speaker, I don't think any government could conceivably be doing more to root out corrupt Russian money, and that is what we are going to do. And I think we can be proud of what we've already done and of the measures that we have set up. And Mr. Speaker, I'm genuinely grateful for the tone of his last question and for the support he has given. And he is right that it is absolutely vital that we in the UK should stand united. And people around the world can see that the UK was the first to call out what President Putin was doing in Ukraine. We've been instrumental in bringing the world together.
I'll be honest, we didn't do too well in 2014. Was it 2014 with Crimea, or was it 26? I can't remember the year now. We didn't do well then, just saying. In fact, it's because he didn't fear us that he took Crimea.
The Western world together in lockstep to deal with the problem, to bring together the economic package of sanctions that I have set out. And Mr. Speaker, there is still time for President Putin, as I've...
Oh yeah, the people behind Starmer are not. No. Some of them don't say anything or gesture anything, because they're like, yeah, we're just doing what this Muppet tells us to do now, because once we're in power, we're going to lean on him and make him go further left.
Said to de-escalate. But what is at stake, being absolutely no doubt, is not just the democracy of Ukraine, but the principle of democracy around the world. And that is why the unity of this House is so important today, and it is absolutely vital that the United Kingdom stands together against aggression.
He talks too much.
And I'm grateful for the broad
Skipping
support.
ahead.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Look,
right.
After receiving a huge number of complaints from constituents, it is clear that speeding is a major problem, not just in
it's a plant question, sorry. Shall I get to the... I'll just come back here a second. We're going to come here for a moment, because I need to check something. Oh, damn, there's people here. 20 likes and 32 viewers. Please change it. So, we're going to skip ahead, and we're going to go to the paper pervert now. So if I just pull that up, switch here, pull the chat up. Brace yourselves. We haven't done this in a while.
we need to crack down on friend.
Right, I'm just going to say this now. Ian Blackford is so unpopular now. Usually when he stood up and spoke, people would cheer. Yeah.
Leader of the SNP, Ian Blackford.
Boo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, this side of the House made clear that the SNP stands united against the Russian invasion.
Hello, St. Mystic.
And this needs to be included with tougher and stronger sanctions. But as the chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee rightly said, we shouldn't be waiting for Russia to attack others to clean up the corruption and Russian money which has been fueling in the UK. Under the Tories, a sewer of dirty Russian money has been allowed to run through London for years. I went to the Prime Minister, the then Foreign Secretary, in 2017, and I raised the issue of limited partnerships, 113 of which have been used to move $20.8 billion out of Russian banks.
What's that in pounds?
Corruption on an industrial scale. Why did the Prime Minister do nothing back then? And why is he still doing nothing now?
Prime Minister.
Okay, so this question's a bit of a dick move because they are doing something. The first 6 questions proved it. They are ready to do something. But obviously, much like others in the chamber, they expect results immediately. And I get that. I fully get it. I'm not going to say but, by the way. The paper further makes me wish my country had less representation. I wish he was fiddling with the paper more. More fiddling, less talking. Hello, Nephilim.
Mr. Speaker, that I'm grateful to him. I think that he was right to come to me then, and I've always enjoyed talking to him, as I've told him many times. I think he's right on the issue. We do need to stop corrupt Russian money in London and every other financial capital. That's why we've already taken the steps that we have taken, but we are going much further to uncloak the true owners.
The issue here is, he says they're going to go much further, but we don't actually know what he means, because we've already seen what his plans are. So has he got something else up his sleeve that we don't know about? What are you going to do, change their pins?
Of Russian companies and Russian properties in this country, and high time, Mr. Speaker. No country is doing more than the UK to tackle this issue.
In Blackford.
Mr. Speaker, that meeting was 5 years ago, and I offered to work with the Prime Minister 5 years
You know what you should have done? Given him some shortbread first.
ago, and nothing has happened. The truth.
Hey, 5 years ago, you weren't leader of the SNP. It was the other guy that really annoyed me, whose name I've forgotten.
Is
Was it Angus
that
McFife?
Russian oligarchs who give the right people in power
It was Angus, by the
golden
way. It was Angus
handshakes
Robertson.
have
Just
been
saying.
welcomed into London for years. Their activities weren't stopped. They were encouraged. And plenty of these golden handshakes just so happened to find their way into the coffers of the Conservative Party. Mr. Speaker, £2.3 million, in fact, since the Prime Minister took office. A leading American think tank has publicly raised concerns, and I quote, about the close ties between Russian money and the United Kingdom's ruling Conservative Party are a block to stronger sanctions. How can our allies trust this Prime Minister?
He ate all the shortbread, he
Russian
did.
money in the UK.
He is he
won't
did eat
even
all the
clean
cake
up
as
his
well.
own political party.
Streams
Will
in
he finally
amber.
finally commit to giving up the 2.3 million his party has raised in from Russian oligarchs?
So I do, when it comes to where funding comes from, the issue is obviously when it, whether or not there is some legitimacy to the argument that they were escaping Putin, or it has to be means assessed. If there is a standards breach based on rules, then of course it needs to be investigated. Other than that, you're just arguing for the sake of oh no, this looks bad. Optics. £21. That makes more sense. So, I'm going to let Boris finish this one out because his answer is a bit of a zinger.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I just think it's very important for the House to understand we do not raise money from Russian oligarchs, people who give money to this. We raise money from people who are registered to vote on the UK Register of Interest, and that is how we do it, Mr. Speaker. And I think his indignation. His indignation is, I'm afraid, a bit much, coming from somebody whose very own Alex Salmond is a leading presenter on, as far as I know, on Russia Today, which the leader of the opposition has just called on this country to ban.
So there is a point to that, well, he did. I don't know if he still does. But Alex Salmond did have a show on Russia Today. I don't watch it, so I couldn't say with certainty. But that is... there are more questions, by the way. There was one, I believe, concerning a Labour MP who compared who compared Boris Johnson's lack of credibility or lack of information to that of akin to that of Harold Shipman not being able and his medicine or medical capabilities. And I thought, you know what? We're going to leave that for the time being. We're going to ignore that. Now, we have reached the end of this, because I could do more questions, but I haven't actually prepared for those. And I need to obviously go do other things this evening. I'm going to share some stuff now, though. Owing to Trump's attending his father's birthday, he will not be here this Friday, so there will not be a political recap. I'm very sorry about that. I was looking forward to it. I've got a fair few sources, but that's okay. Next Friday... will be a big stream. There'll be lots more information, lots more news to cover. But there will be a stream here on Monday concerning the declining thank you very much, by the way, for those who turned up to that stream, and I hope you do obviously enjoy those as well being on this channel. I decided to change this from just politics because it was hurting me, alright? It was just too depressing. And sometimes we need a laugh. And I laughed plenty on Monday. So, there won't be a stream Friday, but that's alright. We do have a Spotify. It is linked on the homepage of this channel. It's also, I think, in the description. So do check out our shows there as well. I'm going to go now and do other things. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for smashing the like. I will see you all next week if this is on. I'll see you on Monday anyway. And I'll probably see you